Hey guys, welcome to That Florida Feeling. I hope everybody's had a good week. Crazy again what's going on in Clearwater. I feel for that guy's family and everybody who went through that. So sad. That guy is a insert whatever bad word you want to. And after living in Clearwater, I've heard his name before, so yeah, he really needs his boating, driving, every license he can possibly have taken away. Because he obviously just does not realize that there are other human beings around, or he's just not a good man. Yeah, don't like him. Although it was just sad because Janice Live is actually a really cool place in St. Pete. But I digress. I feel for the families. I hope you guys did have a good week. It's actually starting to get warm. Spring is here. It's May. I don't know how it's May, but it's May. It doesn't feel like we've done 5 months of this 2025. January was like 9 years, and here we are. Hope everybody liked last week's episode. It was kind of a little darker episode. Florida's full of just some weird, interesting moments in its history. And today we're going to talk about a different kind of place. One that kind of got me thinking, if you had 1 year to live, what would you do? Would you travel around the world? Would you spend it with your loved ones? Would you tell everybody how you truly felt? Or would you build your dream house? Well, this one guy, Conrad Shuck, who was given only 1 year to live by his doctors, decided to build the Wonder House. The Wonder House is a private residence in Bartow, Florida, which is good old Polk County. And it's kind of amazing. Shuck was a building and supply company owner in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, in the early 1920s, when his doctors told him he might only have 1 year to live, but only if he moved to a warmer climate. And in the 1920s, everybody was coming to Florida, so he decided to follow suit. He moved his family to Bartow. And again, I just have the question of, how did you find Bartow? I always ask that to people who move to like certain places in Florida. Like, how did you find this city? So how did you find Bartow, Florida, sir? But he did. And he moved to Bartow around 1926. And he started to build this home with his sons while living across the street. And the house was very unique. It was very uniquely designed, and it had many features that have been referred to as ingenious touches, which I feel is a nice way of politely saying crazy. But it also actually referred to it as the crazy house, or the house of 1,000 gadgets. But it was his home. It was what he wanted to do with his last year, and he wanted to build his dream house. It is in a cruciform architectural style, and a cruciform is a physical manifestation resembling a common cross or a Christian cross. These include architectural shapes, biological or art or design. So basically, it's in the shape of a large cross. Is a cruciform architectural style of rock from the property. It does include glass. Cannot talk today, guys. Glass, concrete, tile, and used train rails. So basically, he just kind of scavenged around, found what he could. He did include a really cool central fireplace that created a draft, and pillars that were built to hollow and allow rainwater to cool the exterior. So basically, he kind of created his own AC system due to this central fireplace. Kind of cool, kind of weird. Kind of getting the idea of why it's called 1,000 Gadgets. The fireplace actually had mirrors at the top and inside to reflect sunlight to a prism, and it could really be kind of situated to reflect any different color on the inside to kind of create a very interesting look on the inside of the house. During World War II, there were actually concerns that Shuck might be signaling German planes, and he was actually arrested and jailed for 3 days because people were paranoid back then, especially during World War II. Nobody really understood what was going on. So he was actually jailed for 3 days under suspicions that he was a spy. He was not. The FBI even got involved. The FBI actually had to issue a press release that he was not a German spy, but in order to be released, he did have to fill the fireplace with concrete, which kind of sucks because that would have been really cool to still see. He did build a very large house. There are actual individual balconies on the bedrooms with outdoor bathtubs. And there is a fish pond on the third floor balcony. Not sure how he did that, but this sounds like a very ingenious way to do things. Mirrors and one-way glass were also placed to allow seeing the front door from very, very multiple locations, even on the third floor balcony. So if you're on the third floor balcony and someone is knocking at your front door and you look just right, you can see who it is. I kind of think that's genius. And he put a lot of hand touches on this house. This was his house. This was supposed to be his beautiful creation. And he really did do just that. He did a lot of hand carvings. He did a lot of mosaics. He did just a lot of beautiful things. And if you look at the house, you can really see that he put a lot of effort into this house. And that's kind of why it's called the Wonder House. I mean, it's a post-Depression era Florida. And, you know, he really wanted it to be kind of his last house. And he continued to work on this house for as long as he could. He did hand carvings. He did mosaics. He did mosaics with a large 3-stepped irregular shaped swimming pool in the front yard that is often referred to as a moat. Because who needs the pool in the back? Why not just put it in the front? Then you know who's walking up. And he actually was even convinced to open the mansion and give tours during the Depression era to make some money, which is kind of cool. And he did so until the 1960s. Obviously, he didn't die after that 1 year, so moving to warmer climates obviously did work. And he actually made money off these tours. Although he was given a grim outlook on life, he actually lived until 1971, which is kind of cool. So I guess warmer climates do work for some people. He eventually ended up selling the property. He sold the property. It was bought, sold, lost in foreclosures, many owners. And eventually when it was in foreclosure, it remained vacant for so many, many years. But during that time, the house, you could tell that the house was well loved, and it does have many different touches. It's often marveled that there are 2 concrete bridges, each spanning 30 feet, which leads up to the house. One is over the pond stocked with koi, and then the other is over a swimming pool. The house itself actually has 18 rooms. There is a total of actually 4 stories. And it really was an architectural marvel of its time. It's actually kind of an architectural marvel today. Partially because nobody really builds houses like this anymore. Like I said, he did build it to allow the fireplace to have rainwater to cool it. And then the way he built it with the balconies, it allows a draft, which actually keeps it entirely cool. Again, the glass and tile with the mosaics actually give it a sense of wonder. And he really did add a little innovation and a little bit of charming eccentricity. I cannot say this word. There's a word that you know I'm trying to say. But he made people think it was a little weird. And, you know, he built in concrete channels, not just to gather rainwater for the cooling, but also for the pond. He also did it to water the plants that grew across the exterior. I just really want to know about the fish pond on the 3rd floor. That is just insane to me. Like I said, he did open the house to the public in 1934, and it was a very popular tourist attraction through 1960. They did pay a dime to see the ponds. You could pay an extra 25 cents to wander around the house. And the Wonder House was actually open for tours from 1934 to 1963. Shuck actually died in 1971, like I said, and he was actually 94. So he way outlived that 1 year. And it's really, really cool. But the Wonder House has been given new life. 10 years ago, it was built, or it was bought again, and it is being rebuilt by its new owner. It was bought in 2015. It was purchased online. Its new owner is an attorney, and his intention is to return the mansion to its former glory. He said it will probably take many years, and he has every intention of making the house as good as it once was. They've been restoring the property, and they actually still offer guided tours. You have to do reservation. You have to get them via online booking. And the rebuilding process and the remodeling has actually been covered by an episode of the Netflix show Amazing Interiors. But if you just look at the outside of this house, it is gorgeous, like absolutely gorgeous. You can tell that this man and his sons put in a lot of love to this house. So, you know, being told that you need to go to warmer climate really did him well. And what's really cool is if you look at old pictures of this house, this man had plants growing all up the front of the house, and this house really did look like something out of a storybook. And it's just so pretty. I'll post one of the pictures on Instagram, but with the tile and the mosaics, even out the front, you can just see all the pretty colors he had. And, you know, the last tour on TripAdvisor was from April 27th, 2025. And people are just talking about how amazing it is and how much, you know, how knowledgeable it is. And, you know, it's concrete over stone. It's reinforced with steel railroad ties, and the walls are 18 inches thick. So you talk about a house that's built to last any of those hurricanes that goes over the central Florida. So, I mean, the eye of Irma went over Bartow, and I guarantee you this house did not feel it, you know, which is kind of nice. So that's, you know, he wanted this to be his dream home, and he felt like it never was truly finished. He was quoted as saying that because his family never actually lived in it because he just kept working on it. But that's really, really cool that he, you know, he just built it and then he started doing things with it. And then he continued to plant plants and have fish and give tours. And that really made him a living through the Depression, which is actually kind of cool. But he did have a bit of a macabre sense when people would go through the tours. He was known to have a bit of oddities. He proudly displayed jarred snakes, a bit of taxidermy, and even had a coffin in his parlor. Keeping to the new owners decided to keep to his vision, and they have also decorated the house with several unusual features. They have a taxidermy deer and a bug collection. So good to know that they are keeping up with the old efforts. And again, the new owners are working tirelessly to preserve it. The city of Bartow actually approved a zoning variance allowing the couple to open their home to paying guests on Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays. Again, you do have to book online. And it is still getting this 18-room home some love, which is kind of cool. It does cost. It's $20 to $25 for adults, $10 to $12.50 for children. It is cash only. And they do actually have a gift shop. But it is really cool that you can still explore this wonder home that this man, who was supposed to die in a year, put so much love into. I do like that it's called the Crazy House because if you actually look at it, it does look a little bit crazy, especially if you look at the older pictures. You can kind of see it. But I will definitely put this into pictures on Instagram because it's absolutely gorgeous. Like, just to see what this one man did and just to see the bridges. I really am interested in this koi pond. Like, this just sounds so cool. So this is one Florida man who was a pretty interesting Florida man, but not in the Florida man sense. But I'm sure he had some Florida men tour his house. Probably not the one from Pinellas County, though, that I'm going to tell you about today. Not the one that was an idiot and decided to hurt people on the ferry. No, this one just decided to kick a deputy in the face. He decided to go drinking at Tradewinds Resort after winning multi-millions in the lottery, get drunk, start a fight, and then when deputies decided to break it up, he decided to kick the deputy in the face. Well, we all know where this Florida man ended up, and he's still sitting there today as of 2 days ago. So, maybe watch your liquor, people. Don't do drugs, y'all. But I think it's really cool how one man who was told he had 1 year to live well exceeded that and went on to build just an amazing home. Especially in middle of nowhere, Polk County, Bartow, Florida. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. If you are looking for another podcast to listen to, definitely check out Unfiltered Studios. There's definitely over 30 shows on Unfiltered Studios. We're always adding new ones. If you are looking to be a part of Unfiltered, check out Unfiltered Studios also has plenty of social media, much like I do. Speaking of, I do appreciate all the people who always like, comment, share on the social media. I appreciate it. Appreciate all of you guys. Thank you for helping this podcast continue to grow and all the love you've shown me. If you do have any suggestions, reach out on any of the social media sites or email me at thatfloridafeel@gmail.com. Guys, be good. There's plenty of all those other people in the world, especially Florida men. Don't forget to wear your sunscreen as it is getting warmer outside. Drink your water. And as always, guys, that's your daily dose of sunshine.
This podcast is a production of Unfiltered Studios. If you would like to know more about joining Unfiltered Studios, please visit our website at unfpod.com for more information.